I'm going to do a small warm-up with UberFacts today and then talk about just some ridiculous stuff that happened in the political world. An estimated 50 to 80% of all life on Earth is found in the ocean. Now, I would like to point out that this life lives in the water, not on Earth. But we all know what you mean, so I won't press into that too much. Now, let's think about this. I'm not even going to research this because there's no need to do so. First, your estimate has a 30% window. That's just abhorrent. Colloquially, an estimate is a number that is ballpark close to what we believe it actually to be, but we don't have enough information to be exact. To put it in exact terms, an estimate is, quote, an approximate calculation or judgment of the value, number, quantity, or extent of something, unquote. Not a range of numbers, especially with such a high variance from the least to the greatest number. Now, I'm assuming that you meant to say something along the lines of 50 to 80% of creatures live in the ocean. Or maybe an estimated 65% of all living things live in the ocean. Put in some margin of error there. But estimated is one number. Now, because you use this word estimated, I'm going to guess that you don't actually know. You're completely guessing here. Now, we know that the vast majority of the ocean remains undiscovered in terms of biology and ecology. We've mapped them by sonar, but we haven't actually been there. We haven't seen it. The gigantic margin of error is because of the uncertainty here. But there still isn't enough skepticism. We don't know what species or how many are still unexplored, both in water and on land. So this number is both contrived and over-assertive. Also, is this number not at least somewhat obvious? Water makes up over 70% of the planet's surface, and the oceans have a third dimension, depth, in which to house and habitat creatures. Land only has 2. Now, of course, you have the animals that live underground or in trees, but that variance is at most a couple hundred feet, whereas there is miles and miles of depth in the oceans. It makes perfect sense to me that the majority of creatures would live in the ocean. So this doesn't surprise me. It's not uber. It's not outstanding. And of course, we don't know. The average American will eat 35,000 cookies in their lifetime. Well, there's no such thing as the average American or an average person anywhere. We are all individuals as ourselves. A group of people, Americans, may eat an average number of cookies, but the average is with the number of cookies eaten and not with the person eating them. I don't know how else to explain this principle exactly, so I'll just give a couple examples. If you say the average person weighs 180 pounds, the average person is 5'9", or whatever it is, and the average person watches TV for 3 hours a day, or whatever it is, then there must be some person who is all those things. Do you see what I mean? Since you describe it as the average, it is the same as every other the average thanks to the identity principle of metaphysics. Jack loves dogs and Jack loves ice cream do not necessitate that we speak of 2 people or 1 person, but it remains a mystery. If we say the Jack, it implies that there is only one Jack in our discussion, and there must be one person who loves both dogs and ice cream. The same principle is used in titles: the president, the boss. When we use the article the, it means one. There is one. The average American does not exist because there is not an average American who is average at everything. Anyway, back to the actual fact and not just me rambling. I looked it up and found out that the Daily Mail did a story on this back in December of 2015, saying that Americans eat an average of 19,000 cookies in adulthood between 18 and death. Well, I find it hard to believe that American children eat 16,000 cookies in 18 years to make up for that difference between the 35,000 and the 19,000. So I did a conservative adding up of what I believe to be a possible estimate, and I used 10 cookies per week. I actually got it from the article where it says 21% of adults said that they ate about 10 per week. So I figured, that's higher than average, obviously, if only 21% said they did it. So children are probably around that. I know I myself didn't eat more than 1 per day, and I know many friends who couldn't eat more than 3 or even 1 a week or a month. So I decided that it probably all balanced out to about 10 per week for a child. The math came out to about 9,000 more cookies from childhood, making 28,000 total. Given that this is a very unintelligent guess at it, and I either aimed a little high, completely disregard how many cookies I ate, or maybe it's right, it's not a factual number, and I don't claim it to be right. I would actually like to see what source says 35,000. I'll keep researching it. Maybe I'll come across it, maybe he'll show it to me, but right now, I'm still skeptical. People who drink several cups of coffee a day are the least likely to become diabetic. Okay, well, the least likely out of what demographic? Under what conditions? Also, this can't be true. The least likely to become diabetic are people who have never existed. The children who were lost in childbirth or before they even had a chance to get diabetes. Also, the replies to this tweet made my day. I think this account is giving me diabetes. Hey, I agree. I agree. Teddy bears kill more children than real bears do. Okay, well, teddy bears are real bears too, they're just not living ones. Also, teddy bears don't have agency. They can't actively kill anyone. They might be used as a tool or in an accident, but they cannot actively kill. Justin Trudeau will be the first sitting prime minister to march in Toronto's Pride Parade today. Alright, yeah, this is true. And it's not like the exclamation mark in your caption shows a bias at all. Alright, disclaimer. Political opinions will stay out of this for now. I'm a liberal myself, but I don't let my political beliefs affect my search for knowledge, which is always more important. The reason I included this one in particular is that I wanted to laugh at the progressives for a second. Black Lives Matter, a progressive movement, briefly shut down the Gay Pride March, organized by progressives. The progressives are at war with each other. I find it hilarious every time it pops up. Like, I thought they were supposed to be allies, fighting for progressive social values and all the oppressed people. But here they are fighting against each other. It's similarly funny for me, of course, when I find a free market capitalist saying that we need more nationalism, or a Trump supporter allying with a Bernie supporter, something like that. Like, a group of people are trying to peacefully, albeit loudly, proclaim their pride of being who they are. Why does Black Lives Matter have to intervene and say that they are taking their pride back? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. You don't come off as a champion of equality when you do this. You come off as an attention seeker, an annoyance. Alright, one more UberFact for now, just because it was really fun for me to research. If we cooked every chicken in the world, the chicken would fill enough KFC 16-piece buckets to stack to the moon and back 3 times. I first found out that there are roughly 50 billion chickens being raised for meat and or eggs every year. For our purposes, I'm going to up it to 60 billion, just to make up for differences in chicken populations throughout the years. The occasional old chicken wasn't killed last year, etc. What made this fun was that I, of course, went to KFC and got a 16-piece bucket. It comes with 4 drumsticks, 4 thighs, 4 wings, and 4 breasts. Now, there's some misunderstanding as to what a chicken breast actually is, whether it's a full breast or a half breast. So I'm going to say for the purposes of this video that KFC uses a half breast, like many other restaurants. I'm more than happy to be wrong about this, but this is how I understand it at the moment. That means it takes 2 full chickens, no more, no less, to fill a 16-piece bucket. So, we have 30 billion buckets, which we must now stack on top of each other. The bucket I got is 9 inches tall. 30 billion times 9 inches is 270 billion inches. The time average distance between Earth and the Moon is 239,228.3 miles, which is 15,157,505,088 inches. It would take nearly 9 round trips to the moon. 9. Again, I don't know the source. Maybe I'm wrong, but this seems outright incorrect. Besides, 9 makes it more uber. Now, a short note. Even if we went with the 50 billion number, it still doesn't come close to the 3 trips, he says. We'd have to have 20 billion chickens for the UberFact to be right. Thanks for watching, and may the truth guide you.